everybody. I'm Jeremy Cordeaux. Peter Clayton's behind the camera. Welcome to... You got your tea?
Yeah.
Good. In the Nova Cup, I notice.
Yes.
Welcome to the Garage and the Court of Public Opinion, from where we broadcast and podcast Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, and of course Friday we do our live streaming show. That was the door. I sometimes wonder whether there's not a breath of wind outside, why the door slams. Spirits in the garage, maybe.
Could they follow me around, Jeremy?
Spirits? Oh, well, I'll blame you.
Yes.
We haven't talked, actually, Pete, about whether or not we're going to go straight through Christmas or we're going to have a break over Christmas. You given any thought to that?
Oh, well, I'm not planning on going anywhere, so
no.
It's up to you, Jeremy.
Yeah, a little bit of a break, because over Christmas people get out of their routine, and it's always the typical time that people in radio and television take off because everyone's routine is mixed up.
Yeah, well, we can have a couple of weeks off or something, yeah.
Yeah, have a couple of weeks off. I brought the glasses down.
Yeah, okay.
But it's not badly behaved, but if it starts to give me grief, you'll have to forgive me if I put the glasses on. Interesting week, ladies and gentlemen. I just wonder how much notice they'll be taking of all this stuff in Canberra. Roy Morgan's survey, I used to really enjoy talking with Gary Morgan. In fact, I'll try and get Gary Morgan on the show on Friday. He runs a very successful polling or survey company, testing the market on all sorts of different things. This week he was having a look at politics. Anyway, the figures that came out yesterday shows that the coalition lead over the government is growing. They had a small lead last week, a bigger one this week. This is after I suggest it's the mess that the government made of the High Court case involving those detainees. You see, Prime Minister, we are not stupid. Oh, you mightn't get a negative result if you're taking the poll in Canberra, in the bubble, but you try the rest of Australia, sir. What else has happened? Oh, the best vanilla slice in Australia. Oh, a vanilla slice is wonderful. Truly wonderful. Best vanilla slice made in Australia is, well, it comes from Shepparton. Baked, if that's what you do to vanilla slices, I'm not sure. But baked in Shepparton in Victoria, number 1 out of 147 bakeries. Congratulations. Is it possible that big responsible companies can be conned? You know, they run multi-million dollar, if not billion-dollar companies, but we saw many of them hitching their wagon to the yes vote at the referendum. So they could be conned, they could be intimidated, could be extorted. Anyway, watch this space as several big car and truck manufacturers start to rethink their commitment to electric vehicles. They're doing various things, slowing down production, cutting back on advertising, and on top of that, we've got this, which is a lithium-ion battery recall. I don't think I've seen this before. Solar storage and various smaller batteries after another serious house fire, and I quote, this is from the ACCC, 9 incidents linked to the LG home energy storage system. 9 incidents. Now, the ACCC says there have been 13 very serious house fires. There are hundreds of thousands of these batteries out there. And through just everyday use, I gather, nothing extraordinary, just everyday use, what they're made for, they become very dangerous. A time bomb sitting right there under your roof or in your garage. I don't know what this is going to do to insurance premiums. I can't imagine that they're not aware of this extra hazard. You would have heard by now, I guess, that the former Optus CEO, Kelly Bayer Rosmarin, has fallen on her sword. I know all about that stuff, you know, when you're the boss, the buck stops here. That's why people are paid the couple of $1 million salaries every year to take responsibility. I know all of that. But the way people piled onto Miss Rosmarin, it worried a lot of people. Jerry Harvey, in fact, went into advertising mode. Not that he's ever out of advertising mode. But he went into advertising mode to release a whole series of commercials telling people that, hey, this thing that happened to Optus could happen to everyone. So just leave the lady alone. And he put his hand in his own pocket to sort of get that message out there. But people sure piled into her. Pretty disgraceful, really. Now, she didn't exactly help herself. She came out too late to make a statement. Well into that morning. She was silent, and the company was silent for too long. I mean, you could put out a basic statement saying, look, terribly sorry, look, we are taking stock. We don't want to say anything prematurely. We'll get back to you as quickly as we can. Just watch this space. But anyway, when she did make a statement, it felt to me that she was being evasive. And she didn't stand up to meet the media. They sort of greeted her and she was sitting down, which means the cameras are looking down. I mean, all of these things are not special effects, but they are things that create an impression, an illusion. And a lot of this stuff is controllable. In short, she was not good fronting the media. It would pay these big companies to have their top people media trained, or even have somebody on call, for God's sake. They may never be needed, but it's good insurance, because a couple of moments in front of national, dare I say global television, and what's that going to do to your share price? Tell you what, Optus that day dropped $2 billion. Something else which is a must, I think, is crisis management. You know, if you handle it right, it is not a crisis. Sure, it's an event, it can be embarrassing, but you've got to handle it right. Worth looking at, but of course a lot of companies just sort of head through the financial year and think, oh, it'll be all right, nothing's going to happen, it'll be fine. Well, if you do that, you're lucky if you get by without something that you need some special advice on. The whole thing reminds me a lot of Christine Holgate. Do you remember the Christine Holgate incident? Do you remember that, Pete?
No.
Former head of Australia Post, who was attacked for her policy of rewarding performance with an expensive watch. I don't know, it was a Cartier or it was a something or other. Anyway, the Prime Minister used his parliamentary privilege to insult her. She too was hounded into throwing in the towel when, if she had been better on her feet. I know it's difficult when you're being attacked, but this is where you need a cool head and you need good advice. If she had been better on her feet, she could have turned the whole thing around. 4 expensive watches to employees who had secured multi-million-dollar deals was good business. Far cheaper than paying people bonuses, I would dare say. And something that on the wrist of people who had worked hard and had been rewarded would have been a constant reminder to them that to succeed and to excel is worthwhile, admirable. Anyway, my thoughts on the subject for what it's worth. You might like to talk to us on Friday about it. Should we allow uncontrolled foreign ownership of residential property here in Australia? What do you think, Pete?
Absolutely not.
No, I agree with you. I mean, we can't go to foreign countries and buy up. We won't be allowed. Can you imagine going to China and buying property in China? You'd never be allowed to do it. 600,000 migrants each year. And you can't tell me that that doesn't drive up property values, because a lot of these people come from other parts of the world where money is no issue. Are you happy with that? Pete's shaking his head. And ultimately the government should ask the simple questions like, can we house them? Can we employ them? We have to create 30,000 new jobs a month just to keep up with immigration. Now, this is clearly stupid. And while you let people come to Australia with all their prejudice and cultural baggage, and you do it under the great, wonderful, laudable banner of multiculturalism, if you are not very careful, you're sowing seeds of trouble. I think we've got to make it very clear to people who come to this country that they can't bring their cultural baggage with them, regardless. We do not want hate, we do not want prejudice. You come here and get on with all of us and try to leave those things that tend to divide you from the rest of the population behind. There, of course, can be days and celebrations and all sorts of things that keep culture alive, but you don't find yourself living in a part of town which is a ghetto. And yes, I know what you're going to say. I'll get messages saying, you know, you go to Earl's Court in London, you'll find all those Australians, they all go and congregate together. I know, but it's not good. We need to assimilate, get on with each other. Last week on Friday, speaking of the live streaming show, Les, who's been a constant supporter, and he argues and he communicates through Facebook, virtually every broadcast we do every day, and I thank you, Les, you're a wonderful contributor, as are all of those fantastic people who put in their 2 cents worth. He came in and sat down at the dining room table, and Jim Elder, the wonderful famous art dealer, Jim Elder, and Ralph Hadzic. I don't think you heard Ralph Hadzic, did you, Pete?
No, I didn't, no.
You would have split your sides. What a funny, funny man. Wonderful. And Leon Biner came by as well. I'll let you know tomorrow some of the guests we've got coming up this Friday. And listen, just quickly, thank you to Telstra for continuing the phone box free call to Father Christmas custom. You know, kids can go into any call box, not that there are many left, I must say, but you take the kids into any call box and they can ring up Father Christmas. That's wonderful. And just before I get on to the dates, that shopping centre in Melbourne, Werribee, I mentioned to you on Monday or Tuesday, the one which had the Merry Everything signs everywhere, has been told in no uncertain terms by their customers, take those signs down or we'll shop elsewhere.
Good.
Lickety split, the Merry Everything came down and the Merry Christmas went up. Well done to the Christmas shoppers of Werribee. Good for you. And if I've got the time and we've got the battery power... Hey, is that a lithium-ion battery?
Yes.
Whoops. Okay. All right. Okay, let me give you a few happy birthdays here. English novelist George Eliot was born. George Eliot was, in fact, Mary Ann Evans. 1819. Because I suppose back in that day, or certain days, a woman wouldn't have got published. Isn't that sad? Anyway, Mary changed her name to George. I'm quite sure she didn't change anything else. What else can we get to? Oh, Lebanon's National Day. Happy birthday to Lebanon. My good friend, the dear James Bruce, is having a birthday today. Theodore Bruce Auctioneers, they are now worldwide, and it's all sort of based here in Sydney. James was born in 1957. Midnight Oil was at Memorial Drive on this day in 1985. Billie Jean King was born in California in 1943. George Washington Ferris invented the Ferris wheel in 1892, but he died on this day in 1896. Federal Parliament approved the building of a new and permanent Parliament House on Capitol Hill, Canberra. Work was to be completed in time for the 1988 bicentenary celebrations at a cost of, well, in 1978 it was to be 151 million. Guess what it blew out to? $1 billion. See, I'm surprised they can't get their sums right better than that. But mind you, if you have a pergola built at the house or you want a veranda put up or something, or a carport, you know, they come and say, oh, this is the price. This is it never is the price. Never. Oh, dear. Truth in quoting. I think we should have truth in quoting, Pete. Okay, just a couple more. Mae West died in 1980, said to have discovered, well, Cary Grant, but she pointed out that she only really discovered a part of him. She never told us which part. Boris Becker was born. US President John F. Kennedy was assassinated in Dallas, allegedly by Lee Harvey Oswald. 1963 on this tragic day. And Thomas Cook was born. Alan Toohey, the old smoothie, invented the radio hit parade in Australia, born this day in 1911. Thank you for viewing the Court of Public Opinion, ladies and gentlemen. I'm Jeremy Cordo. Peter Clayton and I will be back tomorrow. Believe in yourself, and goodbye for now.